All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Monday, May 17th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. We got to hop right into this Monday afternoon here for our afternoon meeting. Great to go across the trading room. Good to see Leda, Kathleen, Debbie, Gary, Ray, Chuck, Phil, Norman, all of our students live inside Cyber Group. Of course, along them, all of our members on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube. Welcome on back. So we have class on ahead for all of us live inside Cyber Group, at least all of our Phase 1 students. I'll be seeing you folks later on today at 3 p.m. We'll just be talking about getting set up on the proper computer setup, the proper platform setup, more of a tech talk than anything. So I look forward to it. We tend to do that class quarterly across the year, once every 4 months. So hey, for right now, Mavis will put this on our list just to begin. It's near the highs, at the highs, heading into this time of the day. So we love trading a stock like Mavis where it's at the highs, and we like trading Mavis. So easily enough, we're just going to put this on our list to begin. I do want to zip right into Bitcoin, though, before I, kind of lose track of that, where we left off on Friday at the end of last week. And it was really, I think it was more like, Chuck, what was it, like Wednesday, I think it was, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, I was mentioning this. I was saying with the way Bitcoin was dropping, to be careful, and not to be careful as much, but it's to brace yourself. It wouldn't have shocked me, as it has now happened. It's pulled back down towards 42,000. Now, I had said 41 to 42,000. There still might be more room on the way down, but I think that the whole Elon thing, I think between the Elon thing, the the cyber attack on the Colonial, and then just natural FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, you're going to see people just selling, saying, "Oh no, that's it. It's the top of the cycle. That's it." Well, if you've been following me here, if not day to day, week to week, you should know my long-term outlook on Bitcoin. I'm not sweating one bit. I did not buy the dip just yet. I had mentioned this live inside the trading room. I mean, it's really true. As much as I'm like excited to buy this dip and I'm ready to see this run back up, and I believe it will, I got to be a human being and pay bills and, just make sure that I have enough US dollars to pay for everything else. Right. So, it's not as if I have that much amount of my net worth in crypto, but it's a decent chunk. And, I'm very excited to get going on this next dip. This week, I plan on buying more. Now with this though, I want to show the hourly, the 6-hour chart, then into the daily. Why was I looking for this drop? You could see this begin to drop. It was really from this point where it was beginning to crack back below the 500 EMA on the hourly. Obviously, it was still so sharp on the way up, dating back into March. It kept going, but it kept teasing this break. And then finally here, once it ended up making this big snap, that's when I first warned about this. I said, watch out for this big break. At this point, if it's not breaking higher, much like we talk about in any given equity, it doesn't matter if it's crypto or, just regular US stocks. If it's not going to break out higher and continue this run up like it has, then we're going to see a short-term drop. So, this is what has happened since. Here's what happened after the Elon stuff came out, and, it's dropped off further. Now, on the 6-hour chart, these are the ones that I just tend to favor, the charts at least. The hourly, the 6-hour, then the daily, weekly, monthly. But, you could see it pulled back here, going back into end of April, down towards the 500 EMA across the 6-hour. Well, once the next drop happens here, this is what led me to say it's probably going to break below the 500 EMA. Maybe you'll see a sharp push back up, but if not, you're going to see more slippage. And then finally on the daily chart here, well, this is at a really strong support as we speak. The 200 EMA on the daily chart, it's yet to be tested across this whole market on the way up, dating back to September of last year. So it held above the 200 EMA when it was kind of just beginning to, consolidate towards the highs. This was before the bull market even started, really. Depends on where you start the bull market, I reckon. But, really, once it broke the all-time high of around 19,000 here, it ended up making this huge accelerated move up. But even dating back before then, it was holding over the 200 EMA on the daily chart nicely. And for the first time since, it's pulled back. So, is it going to continue to drop across this week or spike right back up? I don't have that answer. I think that we're going to see this begin to squeeze back up very soon from now, but it might drop down to 41 first, maybe even a little bit below that. But, nonetheless, the next image I want to show quick before we just go from top to bottom, I found this really interesting. If you've been following crypto, you should know this. Really across the last bull market, this happened. This was the 2017 bull market. You could see it beginning to break higher here. For every time it made a nice run up, it had a huge dip, 33%, 38%, 36% from the highs. And then before finally going into the end of the year, into 2018, that's where it peaked truly and started to dip. But, with Bitcoin, for as much as it peaked up towards 64, 65,000, what's a 33% drop from there? I'm doing that math right now for you folks, so you don't have to do that. That is just about 43,416. That's a 33% drop. So a little bit more than that, but I feel at some point very soon we're going to see Bitcoin and the majors, we'll call them, Ethereum and Litecoin, Cardano, of course, which I'm very big into as well. That's been a machine over the weekend, so I'm sure that will pull back anyway. But they'll all move up. My belief is over time and very soon from here, I believe too. RJF says everyone is a millionaire until Elon Musk tweets. Yeah, that's true. Pretty much, right? I mean, whether it's Tesla or just cryptos, it feels like, right? I can go into crypto talk forever, and I probably will going into tomorrow's workshop for all of us in social media, RJF, you included too, of course. Feel free to join us coming up tomorrow, May 18th. We have a live presentation, of course, our Traders Talk workshop. We've been hyping this up for like damn near forever now, it seems. I was out sick last Tuesday. We were supposed to do it back on the 11th. So, feel free to join. If you have any questions regarding stock trading, crypto included, feel free to send over a quick email. My email address I posted right there on the social stream right there, josh@ctutrading.com. All of our students like Norm, Philip, Chuck, you folks know, of course. That'll be a simulcast, so for anyone live in the room, you don't need to go anywhere. We just do that maybe 2 or 3 times across the calendar year for all of us in social media. All right, so Mavis is already on our list. It's up 5+%, so hey, makes the cut. See what else we have, though. We'll go from top to bottom here to begin. SNMP, top percent gainer, but it's not like doing a whole lot right now. I was typing 0 there. I was looking for the down arrow key there. Jeez, I wasn't looking at my keyboard. There we go. Ended up making a big pop. I mean, early on in pre-market here, kind of shaking around after the market opened. Took a while, but ended up making a steady move. Made a nice pop from roughly $1. Lucky dollar here, whole number up towards almost 150, topped off at like 146. For as much as it moved, I wouldn't have expected it to make a second big move if it's not already at the highs. So I'll pass on it for now. This one's a lot closer to its highs than the other one, I feel. This one has a thinner order book, bit of a spread here and there. This NVVE stock, I watched this from earlier today make this huge pop from like 10 up towards 13. I watched it. I didn't take part in it. I cleaned up from the morning, and at that point, I took one trade just before an AMC, right before we started the meeting, and that was it. But, maybe I'll come back to this at the end. Maybe I'll even just write this on our main list for the meantime. All right, maybe if we have a lot more otherwise and a lot better than that, that'll maybe get the boot, but we'll see. PT looking really good otherwise here. This one pushing up pretty nicely too. Still pretty close to the highs, much more liquid order book, consistently tight penny spread. It's not to say that there's like too much volume on the order book, but the stock might take a lot of momentum, a lot of volume for it to really get going and make the further continued pop. But for right now, I don't mind slipping this on our list here too, the PT stock. ARPO from earlier popped at least, going into the mid to late morning, but dropped back after. BTU, this one ended up making a really nice move going back into the beginning of last week. Ended up peaking right around like 650, 680-ish, I guess, then dropped back. And I guess broke higher later on, but ended up making the bigger run today. Ended up breaking out shortly after the market opened from 650 up towards almost 850. Ended up topping, actually over 850. Ended up breaking over 850 going into the early afternoon. Ended up topping off at 861 and pulled back down. Yeah, this was a really nice trade from earlier today. It's still pretty close to the highs right now. Maybe I'll come back to this at the end. Definitely I'll put this on the side for the meantime, but I'll come back to it. See if it makes a stronger pop by the time I finish up the gainers and losers side. FRSX, nice squeeze after the market opened up today. I know Fausto was first to the punch on that one. Ended up making a nice pop and, pushed up throughout the remainder of the morning and into the afternoon. But, I guess I'll come back to this also. Kind of sideless material. This GP USWS ended up making a nice push now up just towards $1 pretty much. Just because it's cheap doesn't mean that we're always too interested in it. It's at the highs and at $1, but I don't know how much more this one has left. We normally don't focus on stocks below $1 because they normally don't make a clean, advantageous pot for us to take, to try and trade. We'll come back to that, I guess. If it really makes a big squeeze, one of you folks let me know on that. BGI at the highs, but trading kind of like crap volume right now. 5,000 shares per minute. Order book kind of just empty. Earnings after the bell today. We have Fisker, FSR, I believe they're after the bell today. We have 10-cent TME stock from the last few months that took a big hit. And then Super League Gaming, SLGG, the stock that we were pretty familiar with here too inside the live trading room. It's all for after the bell today. Nicholas says, speaking of that FSR, that maybe just from before, he says, FSR quietly did well in the morning. I just saw that now, Nicholas. I don't know if earnings were from the pre-market this morning. I should know. I wrote down after the bell today, so that was my belief. But let me double check on that. Yeah, earnings after the bell today, but they ended up, I don't know if it was leaked or not with Fisker, FSR. It's some partnership deal with Sharp announced. All right, we'll go to that if I find it on the gainers side or losers. We'll find it. Hecla Mining HL, moving up pretty nicely across the day. Seems to be a whole lot that seems to be near the highs, but I'm not as like jumpy or giddy to put it on our main list because that's not the type of stock that would normally run that much higher into the close. I mean, it's exactly where we would want it to be, that HL stock. But I feel like a lot of these miners are up at the highs today, like CDE, another one. Probably NEM, Newmont Mining. The whole sector seems to just be up. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're all going to move sharply into the close for that reason. The AHT trades at the high of the day. We've been following this on and off across the last really few weeks, last month or so. Not as much from like the end of last year. I'm sure that we called this pop out here this day, but it was more dating back to the last like few weeks on this run up from 2 up towards 350, and it's at the highs right now. This one I feel like has better chance to make a more momentum-based run, this AHT trade. Pretty familiar with it as well. BCRX. ATOS from earlier today ended up making a really good move up towards 330. I was so hyped for this. I ended up taking like a 3-cent loss on this trade going into the mid-morning or late morning. Jumped back in, ended up doing really well on it. But as it came back down, I thought it was going to make a higher low and run up to 350. I wasted that profit. Again, I was up from the morning, so thankfully it's easy for me to just say that without being upset by it. But I was really hoping for a lot more on this trade and just didn't get it. And if we don't get it, then for as much as it's up, then I wouldn't try and hold on. So I ended up getting now with a 2-cent profit out of all of it, but better that than just holding on, because that was a lot of shares I was trading. So that could have been bad. Fossil at the highs of the day. FOSL. They had earnings from last Wednesday on the 12th. Trading about 4,000 shares per minute across the last 20, and that's like including this spike of volume, I feel. So even before that, they were trading just like 2,000, 2,200 shares per minute. That's like very light. But it's pushing. All right, I'll write it down. I'll write it on, keep it on the side list. I'll come back to a few stocks, it seems like, by the end of this meeting. See what's worthy, what's not. Givo, I ended up actually just skipping over up 10% here this morning. Oh, ended up missing this whole move, looks like. Ended up breaking out after the open, had a bit of a slingshot as it rebroke over 6, moved up towards just about 675 and topped off roughly around there. All right. Great side list stock, this Givo trade, but for today, we're not really going to continue to watch it. We'll hop over to the losers list. I was really interested in the Seal trade. For a stock in pre-market to make this like sort of funky drop and then pop back up. This was like right around 8 o'clock. I was saying to myself, it was up like maybe a couple percent off of news and pre-market. Let me actually just get that really quick. But you could see what happened, obviously. I didn't trade this after the open. It ended up diving off, I mean, in pre-market. So I figured the direction of this after the market opened up would be down. So there was news out. They announced positive top-line data from the open label study demonstrating significant treatment effect on major depressive disorder. All right. Long story short, that's what the headline was. Sounds interesting. Sounds pretty, positive. Sounds good. But then they're trading lower after Roth Capital downgraded the stock from buy to neutral and lowered its price target from $12 to $4 following the company's study results. So I guess they weren't that great. So, geez, tale of two stories there, I guess. But ended up seeing this stock drop off in pre-market. You figured leading into the open with it dropping that, the direction here would be down. It's actually shortable. I didn't realize that literally until right now. I thought with the headline we would see more of a run up. So at first, early in pre-market, that's why I was more interested in it. But you know what? It's at 4, a major support level. It's not too close to the ground floor per se. You know what? I like it. I'll put this on our main list. See you. I don't know if that was the same firm, Roth Capital, that ended up announcing the price target from 5 to 15 a few months back. That's what led to a couple of these like huge pops and breaks here. Rail, pretty slow right now. Shortable, not a whole lot going on there. All right. So market's down today. Not a whole lot. Not by a whole lot, I should say. But Riot, Mara, the blockchain, Bitcoin-related stocks down with it. Clover Health. We ended up seeing them post earnings this morning. Ended up taking a bit of a dive shortly after the market opened up. Took a while to get the gears going on that short, but after failing to break higher off of seemingly $7.80, was holding that resistance really well, but ended up dropping off right away after. Provided a really good opportunity as a short. For right now, not a whole lot going on there, so I'm going to pass on it for right now. USWS is popping, getting back to that one, at least from Norman. It's over $1. It popped up 5 cents from $1. So actually that could have been a really nice trade. Knowing your worth on this stock, at least. I'm not expecting this to go to 150. What's the news on it? I'll double check the news. Seems interesting, but I'm not as keen to put a stock below $1 on this. It's not as if this is a penny stock either. It's not an OTC or bulletin board stock. This is a stock from the NASDAQ, listed right on the NASDAQ. But it's just simply that we normally don't expect a stock as cheap as this to make as clean of a pop, as big of a move. So even this, alone is nice enough. I think they only reported earnings. You know what? We'll keep our focus away from this for right now. If it ends up making an even bigger move later on in the next 15 or so minutes from now, then I'm sure that Rich will call it out. But I think for the meantime, we'll pass. BTU seems like it's dropping off a bit more now. I'm just going to pass on that. I was hopeful that that would make a nice run into the close. FRSX, it's been kind of holding up here a little bit. I don't mind putting this on our list now, the FRSX stock. Hasn't dropped off yet, still holding a bit here. Now, if it tanks right after I finish this meeting, then I think that you should take your focus off it, at least from there. But and then finally, Fossil. I mean, it's at the highs, looks good, but I feel like it's just trading such little volume right now. I can't expect it to make the same type of pop that it made dating back to, January of this year, where it ended up breaking out from like not even 10, from like, $12.50, $13 all the way up towards 25 or plus, and then dumped off after. All right. From YouTube here, P Trader saying Airbnb very weak. So as he followed up, after probably a bit too expensive for CTU to day trade. Yes, but if you play the options on it, that would be the less expensive bet. And then on the way down, so it could be an interesting short, or if you do puts on it. How's Coinbase doing? I had no hope for this when this came out, as bullish as I am on Bitcoin itself, that there's no direct correlation between Bitcoin's move and Coinbase. So, Bitcoin dropped off, over the last few days, last week or so, really. But, with that, Coinbase could go with it. They're just not 100% correlated to that matter. Just when this came out at like 395, $400, I knew this would tank right away. So maybe at some point Coinbase will be a good buying opportunity as far as a swing trade or investment, but it doesn't seem like it right now. Might have to wait till 200 first. Norman says, check out the AHT trade. Already on our list, but that one's still pushing up nicely. So for right now, folks, I think that we're just going to call it. I think we have a pretty good list here so far in total, 2, 4, 6 stocks to work with. Pretty simple. Don't try and go out there and force anything, folks. It's a Monday, right? Let alone. Also, it's class. So for anyone that's part of the Phase 1 stock course, you folks should be joining me coming up in just about 10, 15 minutes. I look forward to seeing you folks there coming up at 3:05 Eastern time. For all of us in social media, really quickly, this will finally be my last reminder regarding this, since it'll be tomorrow. But our live Traders Talk workshop will be tomorrow. If you have any trading questions that you would like to submit for us to go through or answer live in our workshop, make sure that you send right over to my email address personally, josh@ctutrading.com. You could title it Traders Talk if you'd like. It'll be easier for me to recognize and see going into tomorrow's workshop. Just make sure that you're subscribed and hit the notification icon there on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cybertradingu, just to know when exactly we're about to go on live coming tomorrow morning. All right. Fausto will be on his broadcast early tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern time as usual. All right. But the Traders Talk will be a little bit later on after. All right, folks, I look forward to seeing you there. For all of us in the trading room, I'm going to post and tweet the picks. I know that Rich already posted the link for class. Make sure that you click it just so you're good to go. I know that we had a small issue with the new student dashboard going into this morning's class. So make sure that you click that link just to prep and get in there early. I look forward to seeing you there. Take care.